Alright, so drums. We talked about drums extensively on the previous episode. You can all follow Vegan Steven on the audio version if you just want the audio version of this for yourself, or else you can watch the video version on YouTube. It's available on iTunes, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. Vegan Steven Music, every day. Whoa! So drums. Here are some of the classic drums that you have available at your disposal. So you got a big kick drum. What's that sound like? Big low thud. Alright, that's probably the most important drum. That one right there. They have just a low drum. And you just be banging that on the beat one. Give that a big bang. Sometimes it's pitched. I don't know if they have whether you guys can hear them. So the rock kicks are going to be much more quick. And the synthy one's 808s and then baby. It's a kind of a trend right now, or at least it was fucking 10 years ago, to have the bass drum be also the low end synthesizer. So you get the attack of the drum, but you also get the low sine wave, which makes the whole room shake. Ooh. Down to clicks, baby. Which is so you got your low drum, you got your snare drum, or else clap. They're kind of put in the same category. They're the two most important drums. I'll fly through some other little drums that are used to create energy, but they're your main drums. You got your snare drum or your clap. Two main drums. There's other drums like toms. Man, this is one squeaky ass strap. So lots of toms, and they're used for fills. But yeah, honestly, that kick drum, just kick drum and the snare drum. It's kind of white noise that goes through all of the frequency spectrum, so it really cuts through, and it's the best. It's honestly very good. There you are. I want to make a slight correction. On yesterday, I was talking to one of my science buddies. Mentioned to me that yesterday I was talking about BPM, because as we talked about, the drum represents the mother's heartbeat to the child in the womb or whatever. All right, so that's like your first experience with the drum. Okay, heart rate. It all goes back to the heart rate. Doo-dum. All goes back to the heart rate. All right, it's not that hard, darling. And dancing goes back to intercourse and having babies and so on. So it's all tribal. It all goes back to the fucking witch doctor and dancing around the fire and eating buffalo or whatever's around. Fucking a bit of, I don't know. I don't know what people eat. Whatever people eat. And yeah, all goes back to all this tribal stuff. And then classical music, highly orchestrated classical, will be getting quite far away from noise to more. Music just means organised sound, and disorganised sound is noise. So that's disorganised sound, and baby, or whatever. That's organised. So, drums. There you are. So there's some egg shakers. Ones like those are used to create energy, create movement. Little sparkly shit in your ears. Remember I was talking about the upside down triangle? There you are. So you can put egg shaker things. You can put egg shakers in the mix, and you can put loads of stuff in the mix that won't take up much space. Like you could have 10 million people playing egg shakers and be around, or maybe not. There's only with the low drums only. Often there's only one low drum, because there you are. And the bass and that drum are so important to each other, and also the whole song. Some people think the bass player is more important than the drummer, and some people the drummer is more important, and some people think, oh, a drummer is way more important than a bad bass player, and all this stuff. They're both very, very, very important. And oh jeez. But anyway, it's just a pissing match. There's loads of stereotypes like drummers can't count past 4. There's stuff like all sorts of stuff. Sorry, let's go back to the science. So yesterday I said that I'll just give an example here. Let's put this. Okay, this is at 65. Sorry. Yesterday I said that this was. Where's the 100 BPM? Is this harp on? What the flip's going on? Sorry, excuse me. Oh, excuse me! What was that about? No, it's not going on. Alright, anyway, that's around 100 BPM, alright? So I was saying yesterday that's the average heartbeat. Apparently no, that's if you're really like unhealthy. So apparently the actual heartbeat is way down at between 60 and 100, okay? So here's 60. 60 is the speed of I don't know if you're a healthy person. Boom, 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 boom. So that's just like one beat a second or whatever. That's more a rhythmic pattern there, so it is confusing, I know. But anyway. And then if you're a bit more unhealthy, around 100 BPM or whatever, or else a child or whatever, who knows. So, there you are. Just to clarify, yesterday I said it was 100 BPM, now it turns out it's between 100 and 60. Alright, so faster the beat, more excitement, and all things like that. So parts of the drum kit, main parts of the just drum, kick and snare. Sometimes the kick is called bass drum, sometimes it's called snare or whatever. It's the big feckin' drum you see on stage, the big boom. You know, in the film you're like, in a world, boom. That's all that bass low end. Alright. So that's the low end. There's very little room in the low end, so you kind of got to be in or out. Often only one instrument can play at a time. Otherwise it just gets sludgy and it's just like kind of sludgy rock or whatever. Alright, so cymbals. They're a thin piece of metal and you hit them with an L stick and it goes psh. They're used for changing section from verse to chorus, transition, adding emphasis on a certain section or certain point. Splashes, crashes, rides, chinas, all sorts of different shapes and sizes to do all the things. Oh, having said that, you can use anthem for anthem, like so. There you are. So like in jazz, they'll just often just play the fucking ride. That's a big massive. They be playing like or whatever. Or playing patterns on the ride, particularly in jazz, and the bass drum's less important in jazz. Kind of, it's kind of a big. It's freaking mad. Anyway, let's stay on topic. So going up, we got the bass. So you have the electric bass, boom, 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 boom. Electric bass, which stems from the double bass, which is a big, massive, massive bass. It's one of those called upright bass. It's got 4 strings as well. The smaller instrument from that is bass. You got stringless bass. It's just to create this sub frequency right here. So we got the drums. We talked about that. Here's some bass. This is more slap bass. So slap bass and a lot of bass copies the drums. Like that would be the bass drum. And on the slap they go up for the snare, which is the upbeat. So this slap bass, whatever. What would that sound like on guitar? I can't remember what note I was playing by here. But that's just bass, snare. Bass, snare. Doesn't matter. Different ways of doing the same thing. Keeping time, keeping rhythm, keeping it groovy. And there's all sorts of ways you can play with time, and it's lovely. For example, if you have a really tight drum or whatever, you can slow down the tempo for certain sections. Let's see if we can get this. Alright, so let's say you're playing away at 120 BPM. You're like, oh, this is nice, grand. But what you can do for some sections is slow it down. Let's say you're getting into a sad part, you'd slow it down to like 100 BPM. And then it gets real fast, the outro, you might be like, oh, for fuck it, we'll go for 144. And then we're like, bang, we're on, 140. Let's go half time, let's go to fucking 70. Alright, so just changing BPM. Normally it's a more subtle push. For example, when you maybe go from sitting to a brisk walk or something. I don't know, just BPMs. But there you are. Because sometimes people get upset with on the grid music because it stays the same tempo the whole way. But fluctuations in tempo are quite natural. Listen to any of the old Beatles records. Fluctuations in tempo are just fucking, it's just part of life, like. Listen to a live record. Now, certain bands like Travis Barker and other great drummers, they have clicks in their ears. They got a metronome going there, so they won't really speed up or slow down. They'll play with the time, like play ahead of the beat and before the beat and so on. But there's a natural drift, and there's a famous story about The Who and the drummer of The Who, Keith Richards. Was his name Keith Richards? Keith Moon. He took every time someone tells a story, it's different. It's chained to fucking elephant tranquilizers. Apparently it was half a horse tranquilizer, which is a sedative. And he was playing the drum, and he started slowing down, and he apparently just fucking fell asleep at the gig. So as he gets sleepy, the heart rate slows down, and the drums slow down. So things like anxiety and stuff could have an effect on a drummer's tempo if they didn't have a click drum, and so on. They are interesting. So there you are. So we got the drums, they're keeping the tempo and all that. Bass player could involve let's see, we got rock bass drum. Probably a bit more 80s. Alright, anyway. And then we got stuff like bass drums, bass synth. It's kind of the same fucking thing, really. Is that low enough? Where's that filter? on. So low down, low energy, making that speaker pop. As I keep going on, the big problem people make is they hit the low note and they just keep it on. But then the speaker doesn't have movement to it really. It's just not punchy, and it's fine. It's fine if you don't want to be punchy. It's fine. Just for certain percussive. James Brown, he's like, what's that? It's a drum. Everything. Big mistake people make is timing and so on. Like they have the melody and stuff, but their timing just it's free time. That's fine. It's just something to be aware of, I guess. Guitarists generally have awful timing. Singers have absolutely woeful timing. So if the drummer there isn't a drum beat there, the timing goes all over the place or whatever. Anyway, drum machines are grand for that. So that's why I often recommend a drum machine or a drum loop for laying down a firm basis, and then from there it doesn't matter so much if anything else goes in or out, because the track's going to be in time. Often people try to record a track and the thing's not in time, and then they're trying to fix it and it's just a fucking mess. So drum loop's good way to start, I guess, if you're into that. Or just a click track is something that goes same as a metronome. That's called a click track or BPM or whatever. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about drum, like the drummer from Blink-182, Travis Barker, and I can't think of anyone else right now. I have these metronomes going off. It's standard practice in recording. That's why recording sounds so tight, so good, because everyone's in sync with this fucking mechanical metronome and so on. Some people are more into the whole drifty way, shift and drift way of the old computer days. No, sorry, the old non-metronome. People like the drift, but yeah, just a matter of taste. Do you want polished or do you want authentic? And the big problem a lot of people is they record an authentic record and then they go in, they go, no, actually we want it more fucking computerized, and it's like, but then so you kind of gotta go in and know what you want, I guess. That's only if you want like success, I guess. Just helps for consistency if you're into that. So drums, super duper important. Kick drum, snare drum, you're grand. That's all you need. All that, cymbals, metal, thin beats of metal. Turkey's brilliant for it. Brass is used. Fucking all sorts of things. How the bass drum's made, right? It's a big fucking circular bit of wood, and it's got skins on it made of plastic that used to be made out of calf hide and stuff. You use a pedal to kick it with a big beater. So when you push down the pedal, it acts like a lever, and the lever moves forward. And it moves the lever forward, and on the lever there's a padded object which hits like a mallet wrapped in. Sometimes they use wood, sometimes they use plastic, which hits the drum. The drum is a circular object, depth of maybe 22 inches to 20 inches or so on. Creates a sine wave, and that sine wave is a lovely sine wave. And yeah, and then with the smaller the drum, the higher the resonant frequency. So if it's a low, the drum's going to be quite low, as in big, excuse me. And if it's a sorry, they're going to be quite small drums. Alright, so that's kind of the mad thing. So often people mix up like a you can get away with some things by tuning the drum up to a higher pitch. So there is some wiggle room, but then by that stage it's kind of like a bass singer trying to sing soprano, so it's kind of sound a bit choked. Alright, so there's 4 main groups of each drum type. Each instrument. So you got the bass, the stringed instruments. You got the bass, you got a little bit of fucking cello, which is the same thing but up with a higher register. I've got some strings here. So you've heard about string sections, I hope. Because if you haven't, here's what string sections are. Have I got any strings here? Alright, here we go. So, this is the kind of sound of a double bass being bowed. So you can use it, but you can either pick it like whatever, fucking picking it, or you can bow it. So this would be more double bass territory. So this is a big feckin' instrument. They're there with a big bow made out of horsehair, grinding forward and backwards across the string. The string has to have, the bow has to have resin in it so that it grips the string. Alright, getting up to a smaller instrument now, the cello. And it's much more up in the vocal range. Often these instruments only do one string at a time, because again, there's only so much room frequency wise, because when you start doing stuff like chords on a cello, it's fine, it's just kind of a bit muddled. So what they tend to do is mix this up among 4 different instruments. So you got the fucking double bass down here. Was it double bass fucking tuba on the brass section, double bass in the string section, fucking bassoon possibly, like on the string section, on the woodwind I can't remember, and what's fucking, I'm missing one. Tuba's the brass one. Alright, fucking, we're moving on. So what, fucking the string, woodwind, brass, and percussion. I'm probably missing them. Flippers. Anyway, so they each have different ranges, and depending on the higher the pitch, the smaller the instrument generally. So then we're into viola. So it's just less throaty. It's just a slightly lower version of piano. Viola. Then we're into violin. They get all the glory. They're like the soprano. So that was strings. That was quick. Bit of brass now. So same thing. Brass is a much more harsh sound. Brass is often only used for what is the word? Brass is such a loud instrument. The brass instruments that often it's just used for sevenths. Baby, where's my brass, baby? Oh, we'll never know. Oh, there we are, brass. So tuba's down way low. Just a big massive brass instrument, and they blow into it, and the resonance of the instrument is so low, it brings out this, that's a bit distorted, but so typically brass is used for colour notes like sevenths and thirds. Brass instruments listed. Bass instrument. Okay, here we go. Bass instruments played by the lips. 4 main bass instruments. Brass instruments. Sorry, we got the tuba. So that's like the double bass. They can only play one note at a time. Trombone, It's the next one up, so it's a bit smaller. Trumpet. We got a French horn, which is the highest one up, so. So these instruments are very, very loud, so loud they often have to use a mute. So that's the brass section, the wind section. The piano is kind of its own instrument, most important instrument by itself. It's more categorized as a percussion instrument than a stringing instrument. I think the harp is more down as a percussion instrument as well, which is wild. So that was the fucking that's the brass instruments. The woodwind, right? The woodwind will be the last one, okay? So, and that's all. Then we talked extensively about the voice. So just think, these things are grouped in fours. What was I typing in? Woodwind. 4 woodwind sections. So some lads will be thinking, oh, this is only for classical. This is used for creating your own soundscapes. You're going to need one low one, like a cello, one mid one, like a fucking, and so on. Alright. Woodwind families. The 4 woodwind families. You ready for this now? Here we go. Let's see. We're going to go in here. Can we get some woodwind? Can I get some woodwind in here, darling? Would this be in poly? Might be in keyboards. So here are the 4 main types of. Where's that button gone? That's it's a bit too percussive, but just sure, we'll see how it goes. Okay, from bassoon. Jesus Christ. Contrabassoon. They're throwing all the ones in here. They got bassoon, clarinet, oboe, piccolo, French. Alright, they're putting in way too many in the woodwind here. I only want the main 4. Got the saxophone, all the fucking other lads in here. Woodwind. The 4 main ones. Flute. Right. Anyway, French horns up here somewhere. Flute. We got fucking oboe. And bassoon. It's just a big, like, it's just a big wind instrument. This is not really the right sound. Scooby-Doo. Where is Alright, here we are. Okay, so bassoon. Next one up is fucking. It's not French horn, sorry. Four main wind instruments. Just listen off loads of them. Clarinet. So I'm confusing you guys now because I don't have the right list. But anyway, it's divided into 4. Same as all the other ones. Why is flute in the woodwind family? Who knows? 4 main in woodwind. We'll get there in a second, lad. Do 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 do. Piccolos, yes. piccolo. Flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon. Brilliant. Alright, we have it. So the bassoon, low one. Alright, happy with that. Now clarinet is the higher one. Very have a breathy tone on them. You can often hear the person going. So bassoon, clarinet, oboe. They all mostly just play one note at a time, and then we got the old flute. Alright, happy days, and you can put them all together. The whole string section you get. Or whatever you're into. Okay? So on a piano you'd be there playing loads of different notes at the same time, but on a lot of these instruments you're only playing one note. Just one single note. On the bass instrument, these clarinets and all the rest of it, just one note per person. That's why you have a big room full of lads. 30 people over here, 10 people over here. One lad with a stick shouting at them. Conductors. Conductors. They're gas crack, they're gas crack. Alright, so that was the 4 main groups. Groups in orchestras. Alright. There you are. So very, very nice instruments to have at your disposal opposed to just the rock kit, the bass, and the guitar. Alright, so you got choirs there in the background, you got the lead singer, you got all the choirs, you got the full orchestra there, you know what you're doing. So if you're in like on a keyboard or something, you can look up, oh, what's the sample of the fucking, where's the flute sample? On most keyboards they have like the flute, you can pick what sample of whatever instrument you want. And arrange them any way you like. So there you are. Hope you enjoyed that. That was just, yeah, broadening the orchestration. In case you want to do something. Come up with your own orchestration. In case you want a bassoon in your rock band instead of a bass, there you are. You can just swap them out. They occupy the same frequency range. You can swap out a flute player with soprano or something. If you want, swap them around. Swap a violin with a flute. Fucking piccolo, whatever. There you are. Mix and match. All the best. Keep making stuff and love life.